Welcome to SENS Talk. My name is Brandon, and I am your host. Before we get started, please follow us on Twitter at SENSTalk_. We live tweet every single SENS games once they're playing again. Of course, we have all the breaking news for the Ottawa Senators and plenty of great content. And on top of that, if you're a huge sports or hockey fan, I'm the guy to follow. I keep you updated in really all the sports all the time. So be sure to follow me there at SENSTalk_ on Twitter. And while we're at it, be sure to check out my podcast, the Best of 7 podcast. We have plenty of great interviews. Your YouTuber, your knitting tree friend of the show, Ian Mendez, Team Canada General Manager and longtime NHL goaltender Sean Burke joined the show. Sens prospect Joey Decor joined the show. So really, the Best of 7 podcast available on really all the streaming platforms. Be sure to check that out. Now let's get into some Sens news. We haven't had a lot of news in quite some time, but this week we got a Sens player being loaned to Europe. And we got a Sens rumor involving two-time Cup champion Matt Murray. Let's get to the first bit of news. Firstly, the Senators have loaned forward Vitaly Abramov to Mikelin Ukurit of the Finnish Liga. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Per the agreement, though, Abramov will be returned to the Sens ahead of Ottawa's 2020-2021 National Hockey League training camp. It's pretty simple, my analysis on this. It gives the guy more minutes to develop and further craft his game. There's no downside to this whatsoever. I expect Abramov to compete for a for a roster spot once camp begins for the 2020-2021 season. I expect him to be on the roster next season, and I think playing against big men really, great hockey players in Finland. I think Abramov, this will help him develop his game incredibly. I think he'll be able to edge his defensive game a little bit better and maybe get a bit more of an offensive touch against professional athletes. So, not a bad thing at all. This is great news. Now let's get to the next bit of news. Matt Murray. And now this one caught a lot of people off guard. A lot of people, there was some speculation out there _maybe Ottawa would go after Matt Murray, but we didn't really see it in the news or anything. But today, NHL News at Puck_report 2 tweeted a quote from Frank Cervelli, and I believe this is a real quote. It hasn't been shut down from anybody, and I believe I think I saw somewhere where Frank Cervelli said the same thing. So, according to Frank Cervelli, the Pittsburgh Penguins are believed to have one standing offer on the table for goaltender Matt Murray. The Maple Leafs, Oilers, Flames, the Ottawa Senators, Sabres, and Avalanche are among potential suitors for Murray's services. A list that many see growing very soon. That's from Frank Cervelli, TSN reporter for the NHL. So what I will say is a couple things. Let's go through the stats. In his 202-game career in the National Hockey League, Murray has a .914 save percentage, a 2.66 goals against average, and he has accumulated 54 wins and 20 losses. 118 wins and 54 losses. Sorry, I looked at the overtime losses. So overall, Murray's a fantastic goaltender if you look at the career stats. But look at last season with Pittsburgh. In 38 games, .899 save percentage, and a 2.87 goals against average. Now we also have to look at his previous season where he had a .919 save percentage, a very good season. But if you look further from that, a .907 save percentage. So what we're seeing is sort of like a Craig Anderson effect where the first two seasons, back-to-back cups, phenomenal. Now, Anderson didn't win cups, unfortunately, in his career so far. But Murray, after back-to-back cups, big regression, .907. Rebounds with .919. Drops again to .899. So, just like Anderson, who usually had like a .925 save percentage one year, then dropped to like a .905, .910 save percentage. Back and forth, inconsistency. While Anderson is an incredible goaltender, if you look at his stats, you will notice from year to year to year to year, especially past 2013, the numbers just never added up. It was always one fantastic year, one okay year, one fantastic year, one okay year. And I think that's what you're gonna get from Matt Murray. Is he a fantastic goaltender? He was. Is he still? He's definitely a starter in the National Hockey League. What I think about Matt Murray, he's a two-time back-to-back Stanley Cup champion. So you got to give him respect where respect is due. That being said, apparently General Manager Jim Rutherford of the Pittsburgh Penguins is asking for a first-round pick. Firstly, I'll say one thing. Why did you trade a first-round pick for Kasperi Kapanen if you want a first-round pick for Matt Murray, which you're not going to get? The expansion draft is a year or so away, and there's plenty of goaltending options on the market. Robin Leonard's hitting the market as one example. So maybe a second-round pick will get Matt Murray for a team. But if I'm Ottawa, you got Joey Decord, you got Sogard, you got Gustafson from Pittsburgh. You got. I know I'm missing a few names in the prospect pool, but you got a bunch of good players. You got a lot of good prospects, and then you got Hogberg, who's going to be in the NHL next year. Now, a lot of people will comment this. I understand why Ottawa is looking for a goaltender. Anders Nilsson's not for sure coming back next season. There is concussion issues. There's concussion worries, so I understand it. But Matt Murray, who is projected to be fetching a price like a first or second round pick and a prospect, it's not something I think Ottawa should do. A second round pick should be used to invest in a defender, even a forward. We only have 2 or 3 guys under contract next season. And on top of that, if Ottawa really needs a goaltender, don't invest it in such an expensive option like Matt Murray. Next season, there's rumors he's going to commence a $6 million contract in RFA negotiations with the arbitrator. It'll probably go around 3.54 for 1 year. Not only is that more money than Ottawa should be paying for a goaltender who is not an elite starter, in my opinion. He's a starter, but not a top-level one like he used to be. Not only is that too much money for that, he will also walk probably a year after the contract is finished. So I don't think Ottawa's going to lock this guy down for 6-7 years based on what, he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. We got to give him respect. But is he a franchise goaltender? I don't think so. I don't think Ottawa thinks so. So I think it makes sense that Ottawa is doing their due diligence in looking at goaltenders around the league and seeing what's available and what the prices are. I really don't think Ottawa will trade for Matt Murray. I don't think it makes sense on a logistical standpoint, especially with cash flow issues. I don't think it makes sense on a draft capital standpoint where the value just isn't there. And I think just honestly, it just doesn't make sense for Ottawa. They need a cheap stopgap option to replace Nilsson in the meantime and help Hogberg out so the guys can develop in the AHL and the ECHL. We need Hogberg to get some minutes in the NHL, and we need a guy like, if we can get James Reimer, that'd be fantastic. Like a cheaper option who is still a serviceable, good goaltender in the NHL, a legit NHL goaltender. And I think Matt Murray is that, but the asking price for him is too much. So let me know in the comment section below what you think. And besides that, be sure to drop a like on this video, click subscribe, and share this video wherever you cool stuff. At Twitter, at @SensTalk_ is our Twitter. And that's really it. Thank you all for watching. And in the next few days, we will have the Best of 7 podcast, episode 21, I believe. That will be out very soon, so stay tuned for that. Lots of NBA, NHL talk in that one, so stay tuned. But besides that, thank you all for watching. Stay safe. I'll see you soon. Go Sens, go.